That's strange. So Peter, are you able to see that request to share slides? Because for some reason it's, I can't, unless I'm forgetting how Meetecho works, but if there's a way for you to accept that, because it's not letting me just share.
Okay.
Let me do it again. And maybe I'm doing something wrong here. It should just let me share, I believe, since I'm one of the leads. But that does not seem to be working today. Okay, let's try this instead. Is anyone else seeing a request to present slides? Because oddly enough, it doesn't give me the option to just present myself. I'm wondering if someone else could.
Charles, you
Yeah,
should have some other button. If you're a chair of this session, you should be able to just give yourself the right to share without
right.
asking.
That's what I'm used to, but it doesn't seem like I'm able to do that today.
Maybe you have logged in wrongly. Is this
I'm
possible?
logged in. I mean, it knows who I am, but for some reason I can't share today.
Is it a possible browser permissions issue?
You know, it asked me initially about giving permission to my audio and video, and that all worked just fine.
Okay. Maybe I can ask you to share slides, and then we see what happens.
Yeah, sure. I can see that you're asking, but I'm not able to grant your request.
I'm wondering if this is because you are a lead instead of chairs, if there is something there.
Yeah. Under chairs, there's nobody listed.
No.
Maybe that's the reason.
It could be a change to Meetecho since, because last time this worked just fine when we had the interim.
Okay.
But I honestly don't remember how I showed up, if I was a lead or a chair. I'm going to try logging out and just logging back in just to see if it asks me any questions I maybe messed up on. I'll be back.
Okay, yeah, let's try.
I'm back, but I don't think I have any different permissions.
No.
And only
Still nobody is listed as chair.
Right. Okay, well, since no one's listed as chair, I think what we're going to have to do, unfortunately, is I don't see a way for us to share anything on the screen. So people are going to have to let me just, if you look at the agenda, and just bear with me, if you have better idea how to go about this, let me know. But the agenda is basically, we have about a half hour at the start where we plan to go through some slides that Peter and I have put together. They're kind of based on an update given to 3GPP to let that community know what's going on between IETF and 3GPP. And so that's been updated. And we just have found that a good way to kind of go through somewhat quickly an overview of what's happened since the last time we met, and both what's going on with 3GPP and what's going on the IETF side. And then the rest of the sessions just kind of open if people have other topics they wanted to discuss. We're also planning, as we normally do, to have a closed session, a smaller session at IETF on Monday during the lunch break, and there'll be more information about that. That'll be a meeting there on site at IETF. And there we'll try to tackle some more specific topics that require a bit more time and things that might be identified on this call. So first of all, any questions about that agenda or things that people wanted to bring up and add to the agenda? Okay, then the next thing would be, if you look in the meeting materials, there is a set of slides that Peter has uploaded and that he'll be going through today. Why do I not see those slides here? That looks like that's not working either. Maybe the chat's working though, right? So let me put something in the chat. I can put a link to the slides in the chat.
Refresh and it comes up.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, yeah, so I'm able to see the slides now that I did that. And hopefully everyone else can too. I'll paste them in the chat just in case anyone's not finding them. Oh, that service is not responding. Is the chat not working for other people? Can anyone place anything in the chat?
It doesn't work for me either. I get the taking too long to respond message.
Okay. All right. Sorry, so I can't place the link there, but hopefully everyone has been able to find the slides. If you, there's a little icon, you can find it from the website if you go to the meeting materials for this meeting, but also if you go to the meeting materials, the little folder up in kind of one of the top right icons, if you click on that, you should be able to get a link to the agenda and a link to the slides. So you can download your own copy of the slides. And then Peter, whenever you are ready, well, first of all, does anyone need more time to get a copy of the slides?
Is there a PDF version?
I guess not. Usually I thought that gets created automatically when you upload the PPT. That usually you get a PDF version created for you. That looks like that didn't work either though, huh?
Maybe I don't have the right link for that. All right, I'll try to upload it to something that will open them. Thank you.
So then, Peter, I guess maybe what you can do is you can go ahead and run through your slides, and as you change slides each time, just tell people which slide you're on, and we'll try to get through it that way. And if anyone has questions or falls either on the content or if they're not sure where we are, just
Okay.
go ahead and let us know, and we'll try to clear that up.
Yeah. Let's start then with the slides. So slide 1 is just the headlines. I think that this is regarding to the IETF-3GPP coordination call, which we are in. On slide 2, then we have here the different topics regarding 3GPP IETF coordination, the ongoing license statement exchange between IETF and 3GPP, and then ongoing IANA actions, and then the status of the 3GPP IETF dependencies, and then any other business. On slide 3 is just the headline for 3GPP IETF coordination. On slide 4, just the summary from the last IETF meeting, and that we will have a meeting at the next meeting in Prague. I think nothing special to be highlighted. On slide 5, here we have these ongoing action regarding IETF 3GPP IAB group. Here this was created in 2023, and these actions, that's the RFC 3113, still needs to be updated. And there was also this update of the dependency list tool, or create a new one with IETF support. Any question on these? Since nobody.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
Not a question on this, but I have reported that we weren't able to share slides, and I think you both have been added as delegates now. So just to see if this has fixed the problem, maybe Charles, okay, he has disconnected. I was going to suggest that Charles, I was suggesting that you would exit the meeting and come back and see if it has been fixed.
We have tried this already. Charles has left and returned, and nothing has changed.
Yeah, just try it again. We can.
Okay, it doesn't.
Let me see if it's working.
Yeah,
no,
no.
I didn't completely leave the meeting, but I just reloaded. Slide requested. No, looks like it's still not working. I'm going to completely leave the meeting. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's see if that works.
I'll join back.
And that's it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so on this slide 5, we still have these 2 ongoing action points regarding this dependency list tool and regarding the update of the RFC 3113. Let's come to the IETF 3GPP license statements. On slide 7, we have the first one. This was the reply LS on details for the SB next steps and requests for input. This was coming from IETF, TSV-WG, and there was feedback from SA3.
Which, sorry, Peter, which slide are you on now? Because I'm able to share.
Slide 7. On slide 7, we have the first.
Getting that sorted for us.
You managed to.
Yeah, Francesca got that sorted out for us so it seems to be working now.
Okay. So slide 7, which is shown on the screen. We have here these license statements, which was initiated by the TSV-WG group. And there was feedback provided from SA3 and RAN3. And from SA3, the reply was simply that the interpretation of IETF working group of all security requirements is correct. And that these are generic best practice properties of all security protocols. And that SA3 prefers solution 2. because this has with the intention in the interpretation of SA3 was that this would have lower implementation effort. And the reply from RAN 3 was regarding SCTP implementation. This were not discussed by RAN 3, but RAN 3 does not want to limit the maximum message size of the application protocol. And for this reason, they appreciate all solutions which doesn't have any limitation on the message size, as they have see the problems that this may not fulfill the requirements from RAN 3. Next slide, please.
Yep, and I would just add on that, I think from a liaison perspective, I think we have the information we need at this point in time from 3GPP. The problem's not solved, and that's still being discussed within TSV-WG, how best go about, providing a solution that addresses the requirements. But there's nothing needed at this time from a liaison perspective, or input from 3GPP, as far as I'm aware. If anyone thinks that's different, let us know.
Yeah, especially from my perspective, I think these RAN 3 requests that we should not put any message size, maximum size in, this might be a tricky point. Usually this is always a tricky point if you do not have any, if you cannot go on a message on a size for the message. Let's go to the next one. So this is a live statement from, this was an LS from 3GP to in LS on the need for modeling IS invariant and system created in Young to net mode in March 23. The three requirements were a solution to represent the IS invariant and system created properties in IETF defined Young statements is need to support the 3GP state 3 Young data model. And SA5, who was addressed by, is they have the draft MA net mode, this draft RFC as a potential solution. And this was discussed at the last IETF meeting in the net mode group. And there was, in the working group, there was a poll for this draft RFC, and this was open until September. And interest companies should report any, should be active on this mailing list and review the draft and share their opinions. I haven't seen anything on this, so I do not know exactly if something has changed or how many people have made their comments on this draft.
Yeah, there were a bit of people in support of adopting the draft. There were some concerns as well. Last I checked, there hadn't been a definitive call whether to adopt it or not. I believe that this is going to be a topic of discussion at IETF 118 in Prague.
Okay. So we may get an answer to this in the next meeting in 2 weeks. So we can go to the next slide then. This was an LS which was sent from IETF on the framework for network slicing, network build from IETF technologies. This was sent in October 23. It comes from the IETF Traffic Engineering, Architecture and Signal Working Group. And they informs the different working groups in 3GP about feedback, especially from SA2, SA3, SA5, and RAN 3. The working groups had a meeting in this 2 weeks ago, but SA2 and SA3 and SA5 did just schedule this LS. They have scheduled for the next meeting in November. which is exactly in the week after the IETF meeting. Except SA3, they have it in the same week. So we will not get any reply to this LS before the next IETF meeting. RAN 3 has had a look on this LS, and they do not see any interactions with RAN 3. Current ongoing work, so they have just noted the LS without any reply or any detailed feedback. So we have to wait here until we get the reply.
This was really for information to let them know that it's out there, and if they have feedback, great. But there's not a specific action either.
Yeah. Yeah. At least RAN 3 has not given any action to them, to their delegates. So we can go to the next slide. The tracking of IANA requests. Here we had a number of IANA requests which were done, and currently none is open. So all these requests which have been handled so far, you can see on the SWIP web page, and this is mentioned here on this. If you search it without this link on this web page, then you can find this if you're going through the web page under CT1, and under CT1 you get this link regarding IANA requests and everything what happens there. Maybe you can go to the next slide.
Yeah, actually though, Peter, one question on this. So there were a lot of IANA assignments, as you point out, as a result of the release 17 specifications. So release 18 specifications are kind of nearing completion at this point. A lot of those are being approved. Do you expect there to be a whole nother round of IANA assignments coming out of that release? I mean, is that just kind of typical that they all kind of come as the release kind of gets wrapped up?
Yeah, I have not checked if we have new media types. Most of the new requests were media types. And up to now, I do not have an overview if we will have new media types in release 18 as well.
Okay.
So if there are then we will get a request. But I would assume after the next meeting, we should have something latest after the February meeting. But I will try to trigger this in the November meeting to making people aware that they should be active in requesting this and should not wait until the last minute. So they do not have these requests and after the freeze date. Should be done earlier.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, at least it was not a good idea to have this in 17 a couple of months after everything should have been completed. We should be faster on this.
Yeah, and maybe now people are more aware of the process and the ability to do that in a more timely manner.
Yeah, and especially now everybody knows where to find the forms to fill in, which is also helpful. If someone knows what to do, it's easier to do the job.
Okay, let's see. So we can go on to IETF dependencies.
IETF bin. So then new published RFCs is the next one. And here we had these RFC 9410. So in CT documentation, these references are done. So this is solved in both in IETF and also in the 3P area. So this bullet point will disappear after this. And then we have another issue, which was in, I think it was in SA3 area, extension of datagram transport layer security. And here also the IETF has done the job, and now the job has to be done in the SA working group, which owns the TS which refers to this draft RFC to replace it with the correct RFC now and do the checking that this RFC is exactly what they want. And then IETF reference updates, nothing so far.
Okay.
And then drafts in RFC editors queue. Here we have 2 ongoing. I think nothing special to be highlighted regarding these draft IETF steer password RCD in version 26 currently. So here we are waiting that this becomes an RFC, and then we can update the references to this RFC then. And the same on the IETF steer messaging. Same situation. We are also waiting that this becomes an RFC. I haven't seen any updates on this.
Okay. Yeah, I think those are just still in process.
Yes.
There's
like
no issue that I'm aware of.
Yeah, at least according to the IETF data trackers, there was no change. And then on slide 19, that's the next slide. Here we have the drafts under ISG review. Here we have one, this draft IETF DetNet Young version 18. And here this was also, the last update was in July. And the next would be then also to publish as a proposed standard RFC and related updates. I haven't seen any progress on this one, so it seems to be still in review process.
Yeah, I believe that's correct. Great.
Then on slide 20, the headlines, and on slide 21, we have here the documents which are currently active in the working groups. Here we have the draft IETF quick multipass. This is a new reference which was added by SA2. And here we are waiting that the working group in IETF completes this task. And then we can use this as a reference in the stage 2. And I would assume that also when the work is continuing on the stage 3 work in 3GP, as a reminder, the 3GP is working in these 3 stages, stage 2 and stage 3. Stage 3 is then the detailed protocol work. And when we have the detailed protocol work, then we will have also, I would assume, a number of references to this draft. And then for the draft Jeske update P-Visit network, here it's also something which is ongoing in the working group. And we are waiting for that this will be completed. And here we are a step further. So in the related stage 2 TSs, the draft is already referenced.
Yeah, so there was some discussion within the SIPCORE working group on this, but I didn't see a resolution out of this. So is anyone on this call following this closely? If not, I just plan to talk to the draft author and SIPCORE chairs and see if there's anything that needs to happen there that we can help with. Because it's been kind of quiet since June. Okay, that's just one thing I had for follow-up. Okay. Oh, thanks, Peter. You can go ahead.
Yeah, at least I had a discussion with Roland Jeske, and he also didn't mention anything to me on this.
Okay.
And then we had individual submissions on slide 23. Here we have also these draft OP-SAWTS attachment circuit. This is a reference in one of the in 28541 in an SA5 TS. This I found this as referenced, and I need to check and haven't I haven't seen any progress on this one, so I haven't seen that this has become anything, that it becomes an RFC or the status on this one.
It
seems
looked
we
like
still
it's
have
likely
discussion.
to be adopted by the working group. They had an adoption call, and there was mostly there was a lot of support around this and a couple other documents. And I think it's just a matter of whether all the documents go ahead as they are, or if there's some kind of consolidation that happens. But it looks like it's going to get adopted in some form and worked on within the working group. It's just whether it's this exact draft or a combination of this with something else, I think that they're figuring out.
Yeah, I have to say we have added this one very late, and I only have found this more or less due to an email which I found at the last IETF meeting, when I found an email about this, and I noted that there was a link. These draft RFC reviewed in the 3PTS, because this is not reported correctly inside 3P. So here is, based on this, I detected the action to me that I need to be more careful, that I got the detailed information what needs to be tracked on the IETF side. So here we have some hole in the brokers, in the procedures.
Is that with the way this appears in the work plan? Was that not done correctly?
Yeah, let's say in this way, it seems in this case, the chair of the working group forgot to request that this should be added to the work plan.
Okay. I see. All right.
That's why I said I need to improve the process here a little bit to make sure that these things are done.
Yeah. Okay. No, that sounds good.
Yeah, and then the next thing is this draft Schwarz music SDP for gateways. This is something which was expired in 2016, and we have referenced this in some of our TSs. Yeah, but for some reason it never was progressed. No one has pushed it that it be completed. And now we have the point that we need to find an expert for this protocol to see how to proceed with this one. For those who are not familiar for this is has something to do with the ITU H248 protocol. And I'm not sure if many people are using it nowadays. At least it's very tricky to find experts. Most of the experts are left their companies or were more or less retired or have retired.
Did you by any chance know Lionel was going to, I thought there was someone he was following up with. Do you know if that happened, and if it didn't work out, or if that's still, it seemed like there was a path to a solution there.
Yeah, the point here is that Lionel has found the same person as me, which was a consultant working for Huawei, but this consultant is no more working for Huawei, and all his email addresses does not work anymore, and he is not active in this topic anymore. So he simply disappeared, and now I'm searching for someone else.
Okay.
This was a tricky point that Lionel and I had the same contact person, and the contact person is not there anymore. And this group on H248 is also not very active. So we are in a small deadlock here.
Okay.
Okay, and then the next slide would be any other business, and they haven't found anything. I think this completes the presentation of the slides.
Okay. Well, great. Thanks, Peter. And apologies to everyone for the issues at the start. Hopefully everyone was able to kind of follow along. Any other questions about that overview? Anything you were expecting to be covered there that we didn't cover?
There are some 3GPP related documents and other working groups. I don't know if there's a general like letting people know about about documents doing stuff with 3GPP, referencing 3GPP documents, or if that you want to save that for an in-person meeting in Prague.
Knowing about those now would be handy. I think they only start getting tracked once they've moved from kind of the study phase to actually like a work item within 3GPP. So it could be, or in some cases we actually do miss them because we're having a problem with our dependency tracking tool. So it's there is a fair amount of manual work that Peter's doing to try to track these things down. So certainly if you're aware of things in other working groups that we should be following, that would be helpful to know about.
There are a couple of things. The first one is not yet a working group item, but they have requested time in Prague to present in 6-man about IPv6 over V2X, just presenting some like how to run IPv6 over the V2X stuff. I think it looks fairly anodyne, but I'm not detailed enough. I think that it's not the same as the former IP-Wave work. The complexity there, of course, I think was all of the routing stuff, but this looks like a general IPv6 over sub IP layer type document, but it's not yet a working group document. The other things that I might call folks' attention to are in the DMM working group. There's I guess I'll just say there's some ongoing work to write informational documents about how to do 3GPP operator things using SRv6 instead of GGP. Informational being a document status that was important to getting past some previous concerns with SRv6 mobile user plane, network programming extensions, functions, but anyway, there's a handful of documents there. I don't need to go on about them unless folks can, yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, I think these regarding these SRv6 stuff, I think in 3GP we had already some time ago we had a study if we should replace GDP with SRv6, and this was I think it was in the second. It was discussion during release 16, which was a second release for 5G. And at that point in time, there was the issue that people didn't have seen the advantage out of this. Especially operators didn't see the opportunity, that they could make a lot of money out of this if they would do the change. So there was a lot of blocking from operator side in 3P.
But yeah, there are liaisons statements in the past that record 3GPP's basically stance about not pursuing SRv6. But the DMM working group wanted to publish some network programming SRv6 extensions for people who did want to do it, and there was this sort of went went around for a while. It became an informational document, really, and it's RFC 9433. And there's continuing discussion just about, you know, hey, if this is something you want to do, here's how you do it, kind of stuff. They are well aware that they are not supposed to impinge upon 3GPP things, but I don't know, you know, exactly when something would cross someone's line. So
yeah, let's say my personal view on this would be this might be a discussion which should be started when we start with 6G. Maybe in 6G, when we usually when you start with a new version, then there's always discussion which protocols to be used. And this analysis starts then usually at the first step.
And is that currently slated for release 19 or is that 20 or?
That's a good question. I cannot say any official statement, but I would assume we are talking here about release 2021, something like this.
I see. Thank you.
I can tell you more in our next call after December. At least in December we'll have some discussions on this.
Understood. Thank you. Yeah, I think that's all I had. Just one document in 6-man and a smattering of informational document work in DMM. If anybody wants to track that stuff, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
I would like
thanks.
to compliment what
And then Hanna?
can you hear me?
Yeah, you're a little faint, but I
I
can
want
hear
to
it.
compliment what Charles was mentioning about DMM. Point out one particular draft, which is evolution of mobile user plane that's developed under in DMM discussions. It's a very interesting document in that sense that it's not aiming for any IETF specification, but directly a 3GPP specification. And still, they would like that the document would be adapted, but working group. So it's worth of mentioning in this context.
Okay, you're saying that's essentially related to the documents that Eric was mentioning as well about SRv6?
No, it's a different approach altogether. Segment routing version 6 can be used as one of the carrier protocols, but this is more of on architectural level of 3GPP. They are proposing to get rid of so-called N3 reference point or interface between the run and core network, and instead leveraging VPNs. And as a further step of that direction, some user plane elements.
This is not yet adopted. This is an individual draft at the moment.
Routing version 6.
Okay. And which draft is that?
Evolution of mobile user plane. I'm
Okay.
saying top of my head.
It's a draft Zhejiang DMM MUP evolution with hyphens in the middles of things.
Okay. Great. Thanks. Yeah, so we'll definitely keep an eye on that as well. Okay, any other topics? Okay, well, great. With that, maybe we'll just go ahead and wrap up then. I guess you can watch on the list for more information about the agenda and the logistical stuff for follow-up meetings at IETF 118. But for those of you who are traveling, I guess, safe travels there. I look forward to seeing you there. For those of you who aren't, of course, we have good tools, hopefully an easier time with MeTecho when we arrive there. We'll have some of these little quirky things ironed out. But thanks a lot for joining, and see you again soon. And thanks, Peter, for running through the slides.
Thanks for the comments. And see you then in Prague.
Okay, bye-bye, everyone.
Okay. Bye-bye. Thanks, Charles.
Bye-bye, Charles. Bye-bye, Peter. Thank you. Bye.